Good afternoon, good evening, good afternoon. Good afternoon. Welcome to the annual district budget meeting for MSAD 52. I'd like to welcome you all. My name is Carrie Met, I'm Superintendent of Schools. I'd like to introduce our board members. They're alphabetical, starting this way. Peter Ricker is our vice chair, acting as interim chair. I have Teresa Gillis, assistant superintendent. Bria Lard is like 2 minutes out, we've heard. She'll be here any minute. Crystal Barris, Alex Cutter, and then heading over here, Jenny Mayhew, Ashley Mishu, Kyle Purington, and Anthony Shostak. And at the end, if you don't know our business manager, Gabby Kroll, she'll be irritated that I pointed her out. And I will just like to say, so Jenny has just joined us at the board member, so I'd just like to acknowledge Jamie Johnson was on the board when most of this budget work was done, so I want to just thank her for her work on that. I'd like you all, invite you all for the Pledge of Allegiance. Oh my goodness. Where did it go?
Evan?
I think there's a play going on, so we can still say it.
You must have a flag nearby. Seriously.
Evan, do you know? Is it Sorry, the play, as you can see, the play is getting ready. It's going to be up this weekend. We'll do a little commercial for the high school play that is the spring play. It is up this weekend. I can't remember the name of it. Robin Hood, yes. Coral, if Coral is here. Thank you, Coral. A somewhat true tale of Robin Hood. Coral is our student member of the board. She is working on this play, so we're grateful. And the flag is... We found it, Evan. Thank you, Gabby. All right, let's do this. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Phew. All right. So I would like to open the floor for nominations for a moderator. Each nomination will require a second, and a motion to cease nominations will be entertained and in order as soon as nominations are made. Following the acceptance and vote of the motion to cease nominations, the election will be by ballot. Are there any motions for nominations for moderator?
I'd like to nominate Clint Boothby.
Evan nominates Clint Boothby.
Second.
We have a second. Who's that? Steve Mayhew. Thank you, Steve. Is there a motion to cease nominations? Who is that? Thank you. Second. Thank you, Steve. The moderator needs to be elected by a minimum of 2 written ballots. Those residents wishing to cast their ballot may do so now. That's right, I gotta count it. It is unanimous. Clint Boothby, you are elected our moderator, and Mark I state your name.
I, Clint Boothby,
Do swear that I will faithfully discharge,
do swear that I will faithfully discharge,
to the best of my ability,
to the best of my ability,
the duties incumbent on me
the duties incumbent on me
as moderator of this annual district meeting,
as moderator of this district annual meeting,
according to the Constitution and laws of the state,
according to the Constitution and laws of the state,
and I will support the Constitution of the United States
and I will support the Constitution of the United States
and that of this state,
and that of this state,
as long as I shall continue a citizen thereof.
as long as I shall continue a citizen thereof.
So help me God.
So help me God.
You are sworn in. All right, and I will turn this over to you to appoint
I
clerks.
will swear in God.
case a question comes and the board member answers. It's most likely if anybody answers the question, or me. So it's just there just in case. It should be. Yeah, so it's just in case. And if this one dies, you can go down. We got backups. Backups. Can you identify them? Or do you, oh. So Keely met, and I think the only other person that might is Gabrielle Cole.
Oh, Gabby's a resident.
Oh, Gabby is a resident, right?
So you,
Just me, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because Teresa's a resident, Gabby's a resident. So,
Alright.
yeah, I think we're safe.
You can join us.
So just me. Hey, Bruce.
good evening, everybody. I don't, maybe I'm
You need to, you're on, but you gotta really, really close to it.
gonna be really,
Well, if you want to hold it in your hand, you can. Yeah, sorry.
we'll do it rock star style today. Okay, a couple of things before we get started. The way this works is I have to read the entire article through. I look for a motion in a second. The floor is open for discussion at that point. When you are satisfied with the discussion, I'll then ask you if you're ready for a vote. We'll take a vote. If it's obvious what the vote is, I'll declare it. If it's not obvious and I need help counting, I'll rely on our capable sworn-in ballot clerks down at the end of the room to help us count the vote. But before we start, as you may already know, you can't address this group of folks unless you're a citizen of one of the three communities. And there are some people sometimes we need to hear from who are employed by the district who are not members of the community. So I ask if by unanimous consent we can refer to Carrie Ned if we have any questions that we need to have answered by the superintendent. I think everybody else that might be addressing you is already is a resident of one of these communities. So if anyone's opposed, let me know. But you're opposed?
Well, I have a question about that. If we're entertaining people from speaking out of towns, can that also be reflected in board policy then? Can people from other towns speak out as well?
I don't think I understand your question.
So you're asking people from other towns to come and contribute to the meeting, correct?
No, I'm asking the consent of the voters for one person who is not a resident of the community to be able to address the group.
Right, and I'm saying at board meetings, I don't believe they allow people from out of town. I'm just asking if that same person to be extended board.
So I don't know what the policy of the school board is in this community, or my job is to just follow state law with respect to this budget meeting. So,
Okay, I'm not opposed, I just.
yep, okay. Okay, so no one's opposed?
Can you speak up a little bit? Is this one?
See if the other microphone is better. Turn that on and see if it.
Let's try this. Is that any better?
Yes.
All
Okay.
right.
Turn that other one on. Just keep pressing.
Thank you. If you can't hear me, just yell.
I'm going to do a short presentation right now.
Are you planning to do do that?
Yeah.
Well, then we should do that right now.
Yeah.
Okay?
Sure.
Because you should start the presentation before I start
Yes.
having them vote on things.
Yeah.
So, we're gonna have a short presentation from the superintendent on the budget before we start the voting. Take it away, Gary.
This will be a brief overview of the budget, just for the sake of making sure voters have information. So just real quickly, as a summary for the budget, and this information is provided in the budget book, but the budget is up, increased from last year by 6.76%, and a local increase average of 7.47%. It's a little bit different in each town. So I think it's important for the, given that the board is proposing this budget, for people to understand what has impacted the budget to explain that increase. So for the funding formula that we get from the state, funding for schools is incredibly complex. We get just about a little over $20 million from the state in subsidy. That was a $1.3 million increase from last year, which is great news. The required local contribution, this is how much the towns have to provide for us to be able to get that $20 million, is up $500,000, $8.9 million. And that has to do with the valuation determined by the state. That is not a number that the school board or the district determines. So the total funding between subsidy and the required local to the district is $29 million. But our budget is higher than that, and there's reasons for that. So context for last year's budget, FY24, in terms of where we stand in per pupil expenditures, we're in green, and the districts around us show you what that per pupil expenditure is. I think this is a helpful chart to just demonstrate the board's commitment to making sure that they're using all the resources from taxpayers well, so that we're not sort of inflating our budgets and not being mindful of the fiscal responsibility that they have. So the goals for the budget. Math and reading achievement has not been doing well. We've been struggling, especially our students, since the pandemic. So we've invested, the board's investing highly in reading and math materials. Our special ed staff is stabilizing, but recruiting and retaining them is important because we have students who have significant needs that need qualified staff. We have an increasing number of students who've been identified with disabilities, so the budget reflects the increased staffing we need for them. Facilities, the board has been working very hard to create a capital improvement plan and to begin to tackle some things that have not been tackled for a very long time, so the budget reflects that. And obviously, overarching all of that is the fiscal responsibility that the board feels is really, really important as they engage in this work. So here are our big challenges. So we're in the final year of a 3-year contract, and we were significantly below our neighboring districts in teacher pay, and so we needed to make an investment in that. The bad news is our health insurance was up 12.9%, which is a number that we have not seen in a long time. And so that, and then with the earned paid leave law, new tax, that has led to that almost $1 million in increasing there. The special education budget, you will see, is up almost 15%. The big hits there, main care, which is our portion that we pay for students with disabilities, primarily in out-of-district placements and the services they receive. Increases in out-of-district payments that we need to make. Speech pathology, if we could hire speech pathologists, it would not cost as much money as what we have budgeted for, but we cannot hire them, so we contract, which is a more expensive endeavor. And then we have had to add 2 teachers, one at Green Central School and one here at the high school, to meet the needs of our students. And then finally, facilities is also up 15%. Minor capital repairs, these are a list of repairs are in the budget book in every single building that we're tackling, things that haven't been dealt with for a while. And then we begin payment on a loan for the green boiler. We replaced the boiler there. We did a district-wide lighting project, and both Leeds and Green are getting new air handlers on the roof. We're adding dehumidification to try and deal with what is becoming increasingly a warmer world here in Maine. So lots of you are probably following the news. Federal funding is on the top of all of our minds. We got in title funding this past year, $475,000. This coming year, that money, assuming we get it, covers 7 positions. It covers all the professional development we have for our staff, and it provides funding for students who are academically struggling. We, like many, are concerned about the loss, potential loss of that money, and we're crossing our fingers. The other big chunk of money that we get for grants from the federal government is for special education, local entitlement. Last year we got about $600,000. That also next year will cover 7 positions and a lot of funding for the support services for our teachers and students. So again, both of these numbers are concerning to us in terms of what that looks like, but we can't control that and we'll have to respond to it should those numbers come in different. So the things that we've just sort of kept the same, there's no major programs being changed. We are moving a teacher from Turner Primary to Turner Elementary to follow enrollment. We eliminated an academic support teacher at the high school to create another English teacher. The 9th grade is a massive group of students, or the current 8th grade moving into 9th grade are very large, so we need another English teacher. And because of the potential loss of grant fundings, the instructional coach at Leeds was on grants. We've moved that person off because we're concerned about the loss of funding. We are adding a teacher for special education at the high school. We're adding a special ed teacher at Green, and we are adding a building coordinator for the middle school in Green. This is a support position for all of the students that are in all of those buildings. Support for the teachers in the compliance, the massive compliance part that goes with special education and the paperwork, as well as supporting administration in doing all of the IEP meetings that have to happen. Other increases, so those reading and math instructional materials, $200,000. We've added lacrosse this year. What's in the budget this year, that is a fully funded by fundraising part of the program. Next year, we are adding $10,000 for stipends. And then you will see a new warrant article, LRTC. We have never spent money for the students going to LRTC, but a new cost-sharing agreement was made between the sending schools to make sure that we're all providing some support. The Lewiston school systems were providing any extra funding that was needed, and the decision was made that that really needed to be shared amongst the sending schools. So we've made a lot of budget reductions. I think it ended up being 22 positions. The one program that was eliminated was world language at the middle school. We had an opening at the high school that went unfilled this year. It's a very difficult position to fill, so we made the hard decision of moving that employee to the high school. So it means there will not be world language at the middle school. We eliminated a science teacher at the high school. As I said, an academic support teacher. We eliminated the elementary librarian position. Again, a TPS primary teacher. 6 Ed Tech 3 positions, 7 Ed Tech 1 positions, a facility specialist. We eliminated 2 speech pathologists, but those were open positions that we haven't been able to fill. So our goal was to not double budget, to make sure we had enough in contracts, knowing that the likelihood we'd be able to hire those would be very slim. If we get a speech pathologist, we will hire them and not spend as much money in contracts if we are able to get lucky like that. So there's several reserve accounts that I just want to review. Capital improvements, we have been able to tackle some pretty significant projects without having to get loans or adding that funding to the budget to increase the local increase. So the water system at Turner Primary School is being tackled. We anticipate that happening in the summer months into the fall. We've got a temporary solution now. The roof at Leeds is getting done this summer. Half of the building needs a brand new roof. The elevator at the high school stopped working. That's an $86,000 fix. And the wastewater treatment, which is the biggest chunk of money, over $400,000, is being used for that. So again, sort of the board wanting to be really responsible with those funds. Article 19 is the Systems Administration Reserve Fund. That is for upgrading our financial software. The current software we have is not supported anymore. That's a $100,000 investment. And then in regular instruction, the board really wanted to sort of try to plan for a disaster if we lost funds, to have some cushion of funding should we need to do something around that in terms of employees or professional development. That is a one-time only thing. If we don't need that money at the end of next year in next year's budget, we allocate that money. Same for systems administration. That's a one-time reserve account. So we have revenue calculations. This is a small number, small sheet of paper, but it provides you information about where those numbers are in each town. You have that document if you picked up a budget book outside, and it gives you the source of revenue. So that is We encourage you all to come to the referendum on Thursday, May 22nd, in your town offices between 1 and 7. Clint, I'm done.
Okay, Article 1, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for regular instruction. The school board recommends $13,543,251. Is there a motion? There's a motion. Do I have a second? And a second. Comments, questions, discussion? Seeing none, those in favor of the motion? And those opposed? And the motion carries. Sure. Yes, they want names for motions and seconds. So for the motion, I saw we got Evan. I don't know who I saw with the second. Jamie with the second. Article 2, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for special education. The school board recommends $9,309,214. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. I have a second. Tom Johnson, second. Comments or questions? Seeing none. Those in favor of the motion? And those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 3, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for career and technical education. The school board recommends $8,218. Is there a motion? A motion? Got a second? Got a second? Here we go. And what's the name of the seconder? No, Susan.
Susan?
You guys got it? Susan.
Okay.
Comments or questions?
Who said Susan?
Seeing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 4, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for other instruction. The school board recommends $777,233. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion. Do I have a second? Second, Tom Johnson.
Tom.
Comments or questions? Seeing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 5. To see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for student and staff support. The school board recommends $2,996,339. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We got a motion. Do we have a second? We have a second. Gentlemen, what's your name, sir?
Tom Johnson.
Oh, right behind you, Tom. Okay. What's your? Okay. Thank you. We just need it for the record, that's all. So, comments or questions on that article? Seeing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 6, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for system administration. The school board recommends $896,560. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion, got a second? Got a second right here? Yes. Comments or questions? Seeing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 7, to see what sum the district will be authorized to spend for school administration. The school board recommends $2,039,392. Is there a motion? Susan Shaw, and second? Got it?
Is that
Yep.
Article 6 or 7?
Article 7. Are we all clear? We're all on Article 7. I don't know if you're following in your books, but comments or questions on Article 7? Seeing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 8. To see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for transportation in buses. The school board recommends $2,782,894. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion and a second. Comments or questions? Those in favor of the motion? And those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 9, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for facilities maintenance. The school board recommends $4,947,608. Is there a motion?
So moved.
Got a motion? Got a second? Comments or questions? Seeing none. Those in favor of the motion? And those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 10, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for debt service and other commitments. The school board recommends no dollars. We have a motion for that?
So moved.
We have a motion and a second. They're voting on raising no dollars. Comments or questions? Those in favor? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 11, to see what sum the district will be authorized to expend for all other expenditures, and the school board recommends $63,880. Is there a motion?
So moved.
A motion and a second. Comments or questions? Seeing none. Those in favor of the motion? And those opposed? And the motion carries. Articles 12 and 13, these I'm going to read this whole article, and then we'll look for the motion. So it's a lengthy one. To see what sum the district will appropriate for the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and to see what sum the district will raise and assess each municipality's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, in accordance with the Maine Revised Statute, Title 20-A, Section 15688. The recommendations are as follows. The total appropriated by municipality, I'm going to read by the total appropriated, and then we'll go through the total assessments. So for the town of Green, the total appropriated, $8,922,523.95. For the town of Leeds, $5,698,565.10. For the town of Turner, $14,423,585.26. And now the amounts assessed for the town of Green, $2,949,350. For the town of Leeds, $1,637,341.67. And for the town of Turner, $4,325,103.33. The total appropriated is $29,044,674.31. And a total amount raised is $8,911,795. The explanation provided is the district's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the EPS, Central Programs and Services Funding Act, is the amount of money determined by state law to be the minimum amount the district must raise and assess in order to receive the full amount of state dollars. Is there a motion?
So moved.
I have a motion, I have a second. Comments or questions about this? Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And that motion carries. Okay, this next one is going to require your written ballot. So we'll go through it. We'll have a motion, we'll have a second, we'll have a discussion if there's any discussion to be had, and then we'll ask you to vote and deposit your vote over there in the ballot box. Article 13, see what sum the district will raise and appropriate in additional local funds. It's recommended for $7,413,066.88, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by the recommendation $7,413,066.88 as required to fund the budget recommended by the school board. The school board recommends, the number again, this feels like an ad, doesn't it? $7,413,066.88, which exceeds the state's essential programs and services allocation model by, once again, $7,413,066.88. The school board gives the following reasons for exceeding the state's essential programs and services funding model. The district's costs are not fully funded by the essential program and services funding model. These items include, but are not limited to, advanced placement courses, co- and extracurricular costs, technology coordinator, maintenance and operation, cost of our own sewer treatment plant, and inadequate special education funding, the high school funding, including the high school cost of out-of-district placements. So once again, the explanation for this, the additional local funds are those locally raised funds over and above the district's local contribution to the total cost of funding public education for pre to kindergarten to grade 12, as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act, and local amounts raised for the annual payment on non-state funded debt service that will help achieve the district budget for the educational program. Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? Second. I have a second over here.
Could I have the names with me?
And could we just have your name, please? Thank you. And so the floor is open for comments or just questions. Don't ask me to read the number again. If there are no comments or questions and you're ready to vote, please indicate yea or nay, yes or no, and deposit your vote in the ballot box.
What's that? Yeah, well, right. Well, it's all relative.
So tomorrow, and then 2 days
Cool.
So we got very, very late
What theaters?
They took to theater, but we use Brunswick High School. And this is going to. So we had very late nights. Don't fall.
Is everyone who wants to vote, cast their vote?
were there witnesses? Like,
Steve is questioning books.
oh. We do.
Yeah, I can feel it because it's falling apart.
She's got a ball. They're actually probably 20-year-olds.
I just forwarded the fund reading. I just assumed you were. It's just but I do.
I don't know that.
But do they, see, because everybody who's contract, they're do they have a referendum too? We don't put them in the chairs.
A bunch of years ago, that's like, I know, right?
Jen, you're scared? You're in the back.
Lurking in the dark.
We can come into the lunch.
He likes the secret, right? Easy access, nobody behind him. You're like, I don't know. Send me any questions you want. Or you can.
So the official tally was 43 yea and 6 nay. There were 10 void ballots cast that were cast on other, so you have a packet of ballots that say Article 12, 13, 14. 10 of them were cast on different other than Article 13, so they don't count. Of those, 6 were no, 2 were yes, and 1 was blank. So even if they had all counted, the article still would have passed. But the official tally is 43 to 6. Article 13 therefore passes. Article 14 summarizes the proposed school budget. To see what's on the district will authorize the school board to expend for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2025 and ending June 30, 2026 from the district's contribution to the total cost of funding public education from pre-kindergarten to K-12 to grade 12 as described in the Essential Programs and Services Funding Act. Local funds for non-state funded school construction debt service, additional local funds for school purposes under the Maine Revised Statute, Title 20-A, Section 15690, unexpended balances, tuition receipts, state subsidy, and other receipts for the support of schools, and the school board recommends $37,364,589. Is there a motion? I have a motion and a second. Comments or questions?
I just had a question. You're saying the cost of funding public education from kindergarten to grade 12, but I believe you keep saying like pre-kindergarten. So is it pre-kindergarten?
Did I read? Maybe I read it wrong.
Yeah, I think you just missed out the pre. It is pre.
I left out the pre. I'm sorry. To clarify that.
It's not, I think she's not.
Oh, the budget book says kindergarten.
Our books say from kindergarten to grade
Okay,
12.
so I'm reading to you from the official warrant that was signed by the board. So I think in the printing process of getting this out to the community, there was a misprint, and I apologize for that, but I'm reading to you from the official document. So it is pre-kindergarten.
We will note the error and fix it.
Okay. Now I don't know if I asked for a motion.
Yes.
I did. Did you get that?
Yep.
Okay.
Yes, I did.
Other comments or questions then? Hearing none. Those in favor of the motion? And those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 15 authorizes the adult education program and raises the local share. To see if the district will appropriate $390,924 for adult education and raise $201,460 as the local share, with authorization to expend any additional incidental or miscellaneous receipts in the interest and for the well-being of the adult education program. Is there a motion? A motion? Second? Anyone?
I'll second.
Got a second? Got a second?
Teresa gets it.
Comments or questions? Seeing none. Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 16. This authorizes the expenditure of grants and other receipts. In addition to amounts approved in the preceding articles, shall the school board be authorized to expend such other sums as may be received from the federal or state grants or programs or other sources during the fiscal year for school and other program purposes, provided that such grants, programs, or other sources do not require the expenditure of other funds not previously appropriated. Is there a motion? Have a motion? Have a second? Comments or questions? Those in favor of the motion? And those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 17 authorizes the transfer to and expenditure from the Capital Repair Reserve Fund. Article 17, shall the school board be authorized to transfer $700,000 from the available fund balances to the Capital Repair Reserve Fund and to expend from the Capital Repair Reserve Fund as needed in the discretion of the school board. Is there a motion? Have a motion? Have a second. Comments or questions? Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? Motion carries. Article 18 authorizes the transfer transfer to and expenditure from the Special Education Reserve Fund. Shall the school board be authorized to transfer $200,000 from available fund balances to the Special Education Reserve Fund and to expend from the Special Education Reserve Fund as needed in the discretion of the school board? Is there a motion? I have a motion and a second. Comments or questions? Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 19 establishes System Administration Reserve Fund and authorizes a transfer to and expenditure from the System Administration Reserve Fund. Shall the school board be authorized to establish a System Administration Reserve Fund for unanticipated system administration costs, to transfer up to $100,000 from available fund balances to the System Administration Reserve Fund, and to expend from the System Administration Reserve Fund as needed at the discretion of the school board? Is there a motion? I have a motion and a second. Comments or questions? Seeing none, those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 20 authorizes a transfer to and expenditure from the regular Education Reserve Fund. Shall the school board be authorized to transfer $200,000 from available fund balances to the regular Education Reserve Fund and to expend from the regular Education Reserve Fund as needed in the discretion of the school board, including in the event there is a loss of federal funding? Is there a motion? I have a motion and a second. Comments or questions? Seeing none, those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 21 authorizes a transfer to and expenditure from the Technology Reserve Fund. Shall the school board be authorized to transfer $9,200 from available fund balances to the Technology Reserve Fund and to expend from the Technology Reserve Fund as needed in the discretion of the school board? Is there a motion? Have a motion. And a second. Comments or questions? Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 22 authorizes the disposition of any additional state subsidy received. Article 22, in the event the district receives more state education subsidy than the amount included in its budget, shall the school board be authorized to use all or part of the additional state subsidy to increase expenditures for school purposes in cost center categories approved by the school board, increase the allocation of finances in a reserve fund approved by the school board, and or decrease the local cost share expectation as defined in Title 20-A, Section 15671-A, Sub 1, Sub B, for local property taxpayers for funding public education as approved by the school board. Is there a motion? Got a motion, I got a second. Comments or questions on this? Those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. Article 23 authorizes transfers among cost centers. Shall the school board be authorized to transfer amounts exceeding 5% of the total appropriation for any cost center to another cost center or among other cost centers for the 2025-2026 fiscal year, provided that transfers shall not be permitted to increase authorized total school budget? Is there a motion? A motion, a second, multiple seconds. Comments or questions? Seeing none, those in favor of the motion? Those opposed? And the motion carries. That is all the business that we can carry out under this warrant, so a motion to adjourn would be appropriate. Have a second? Those in favor of adjournment? And we are adjourned. Thank you, everyone, for coming out.